Welcome to a more just and merciful world. I'm Kathy Humphrey, president of Carlow University. On this podcast, we talk to leaders, teachers, artists, scientists, and historians from around the globe to explore how to bring more justice and mercy in our own world. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Rob Cherry. Rob is a known face around the city of Pittsburgh. Although, Rob, you haven't been here that long, right? You were in Wisconsin for a long time. Is that right?
That's correct. I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I've been here almost 5 years.
Has it been 5 years?
Yes.
Wow, time's just flying, right? And so Rob is the CEO for Workforce Development, and a topic that I think I hear the term workforce development every single day somewhere. What made that topic so hot?
Yeah, it's a great question. I hear it every day too. I think what makes it such a hot topic is that there are such really tight labor constraints right now, and so essentially we don't have enough people to fill all the roles, and you layer on that a large amount of individuals retiring. You layer on top of that AI innovation, and you have this labor market that over the next 10 years will be a labor market that we've never seen before. And so while employers in the past have been able to grab the next resume and fill the role, it will not look like that moving forward for workforce development in the United States.
So there's this balancing thing going on. You know, we're hearing every day AI is taking away jobs. But then, Rob, here you are, responsible for workforce development, saying we don't have enough people to take on these roles that are emerging. Which one is it?
It's exactly what you said, and you used a perfect term because they call it the great rebalancing now. And so, and that is the process that we will have to go through to where, the largest workforce that we've had will retire from the workforce. We will recreate new jobs that, will be AI infused or have different skill sets. 20% of the jobs that are open right now did not even exist 20 years ago.
Wow.
And so we will continue to see that rapidly change over the next 10 years as, skills, different skills will be needed, different technological skills, different digital skills will be needed to do jobs. But it can also create opportunities for, new jobs to be created and new opportunities for people with different skills.
How are these new jobs being created? Who's coming up with them, right? Yeah. How is that being formulated, and how do you know how to get in front of it, right?
That's the tough part. How do we get in front of it is we stay really close to employers, and we understand their needs, and we understand their labor challenges, and how can we create roles inside of companies that may have been two roles before, or a role that a AI role that has never been, created in that, manufacturing plant or business before. And so you really have to stay really close to, the employer needs to make sure that you can build skills in people that are transferable enough that as the labor market changes, they'll be able to adapt new skills relatively, easy.
Okay, here's a really unfair question. You ready, Rob?
Yes.
Look into the future. It's already unfair.
Yeah.
Look into the future and tell me, what do you think will no longer exist in 15 years?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think a lot of customer service jobs will be augmented, but also when I get asked that question a lot, and I always explain that I remember when my parents bought a house, there was a loan officer who came to the house, mortgage broker. They sat down, they had pencils, papers went back and forth. Now, you go 30, 40 years later, when I buy a house, there's still a loan officer, but you put your information in a portal and it automates what that loan officer did 30, 40 years ago, in an amount of 24 hours. Tells you whether you've been approved or not, and then there's someone who guides you along that process. And that's how that's how automation will look. It will be human assisted. And so many of the jobs will look the same, but the rate at which they can produce will be a lot faster, and will have some type of automation and some human attached to it.
Yeah, I just bought a new car, and I didn't handle one piece of paper, right? Everything I signed was on a pad on a desk, and but I still had to deal with the business manager,
Right.
But he was swiping as opposed to me turning pages. So I do think that's probably an interesting way to look at what we will be doing more in the future in regards to this workforce development. As we prepare, all of us prepare for the future, talk to me a little bit about what you think the expectation of AI use will be for this generation of students.
Yeah, I think that it will be integrated into everything that they do. And what we see in the workforce right now is that there's some folks who use it a lot. There's some folks who can kind of play around with it, know how to get on the portal and ask it questions. I think our biggest social risk are the folks who aren't using it at all. And between them and the people who are using it a little bit. And so we try to stay focused on that too, and not just worry so much about how the employer is using AI, but we worry about who's not using it, and how can we get them exposed to it so that they're not left behind. And we've seen digital divides before. We've seen what happens when technology advances quickly, and then communities get left behind because they don't have access to it.
And so if you heard that a faculty member was saying to their students, do not use AI, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I would tell them that they're going to need it. And many people have different opinions about what AI is, the environmental concerns, things like that. And I think that those are very, good concerns to have. I think there's a lot to be worked out in regards to how this innovation will be used in the future, how it will be powered in the future. But I do know that it is moving rapidly, and we cannot put our heads in the sand on it. We have to expose, our young people, our students to it, so they know how to excel in this new world, that it will be very integrated in many roles in the future.
And do you see pathways? I'm concerned about the digital divide again as well, in many, many ways, because I think this time it's not just about those who are economically challenged. It's about those who don't see the need to come along. Again, how do we inspire both sides?
Yeah, I think that there's some folks who won't need it. They are either at points in their career, or they do specific jobs, and they may not need AI, and they may use it in their personal lives, but they may never use it in their work. I think that what we're seeing is that companies are adopting AI. And so every year, 70% of the skills needed for a job, we're seeing a 70% increase in AI skills that are needed for a particular job. And so this will happen year over year as we see adoption grow. And so, yeah, it's something that would definitely be needed, and we're looking at it really closely.
So when we think about workforce development, well, let me stay with AI for a second, because there's definitely some concerns, right? There's definitely, I think the governor brought up some concerns about how children are using it in ways that could be harmful, especially in regards to allowing AI to be their friend, or allowing AI to be their psychologist.
Right.
there are some things that I think we as a community have to be concerned about in how we execute with this newfound technology. But on the flip hand side, the speed of work is changing. And what the employer is expecting, I think what you're saying to us is what the employer is expecting from their employees now is going to be different in light of the fact that this capability is there.
Yeah.
Right. I always liken it to for my generation of people when the calculator came out. Right. People used to say, nobody's going to be able to count, and there's a lot of truth to that today. That people don't count in their head well today because they don't have to. Right. And so, is it good? Is it not good? Well, if you can't get near your phone, it's a bad thing. But but if you can get near your phone, I guess that necessity is not really there. So so now we have something called workforce development grants, federal grants that students can get access to. What's your thoughts about that movement in that direction?
I think Workforce Pell is something that is fantastic. I think any opportunity that we can give a young person or a person looking to upskill, an opportunity to get back into some type of skills training, to get into schools, to make sure that they can earn a higher wage, provide for their family is a fantastic thing. And the fact that we will be able to do it for more credentials is a wonderful thing also. Not everyone needs a 4-year degree to do a particular job.
Shame on you.
I want everyone to be lifelong learners. But
I'm in agreement with that.
But I also think that opens doors for higher learning institutions also to get connected to business to facilitate those also. And so there's a lot of different jobs, a lot of different skill sets will be needed. I think what is important for the workforce when it comes to skills training is that the ecosystem is nimble enough that people can come in at a certain level and keep scaffolding up. And as many scaffolds as we can make, it makes that journey easier for people.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree. I mean, I really agree with you that everybody does not need a 4-year degree. I can say that today. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to say that in the future because of the speed and the rate of technology. Where are you going to learn it, right? And so I think even that tide is turning a bit and potentially could be the difference between the haves and the have-nots once again. And because there's so much language about everybody doesn't need a 4-year degree, right? Does a whole generation fall behind and end up not being where they could have been had they had what a 4-year degree provides? Because, no matter what you say, what a 4-year degree should do is provide you opportunity to develop your critical thinking skills. Right. It should provide you opportunity to become much more eloquent verbally. It should help you to be a better use of information. And that is what I'm concerned about for the future, because information, we no longer need to have all this information in our head. That's not why you need a 4-year degree anymore. We are in a point where we have to have an ability to execute on large amounts of data.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you learn that? And are we in higher education really preparing that student for the future is what I think our challenge is today, because that's what makes it worth it, right, to make that kind of investment. But I am thrilled about this workforce Pell because I do believe it's going to give even more people opportunities, but it is going to require people to upskill. And we are fortunate. We have several certificates at Carlow now that provide people the opportunity to change their life in 16 months. For example, our LPN program is a life changer. The women and men in that program Many of them come to us with a CNA background, with working in the hospitals in some kind of format to, in 16 months, they are in a profession. They are making a wage that their families really can live in, and they have changed. They have changed their families for generation because of that investment. So I'm thrilled that they're going to be eligible for Pell. And I do also believe that more careers are going to be spun because of the Pell Grant, because people will have capacity to take advantage of it that they did not have in the past. What programs do you think that you would like to see on many college campuses today that they're just not there, and we need more help to create those certificates?
I think more stackable programs like your LPN program, where there is one level of job that a person can do in healthcare, where you start off, and then there is a pathway you can see forth between work and education that you can keep scaffolding up. And I think that's how, education and work will kind of coexist kind of moving forward. And so when you look at credentials versus college degrees, I mean, the evidence that a college degree will make you a more sustainable worker is still very hard evidence. The degree into which people get there, I think, is the opportunity that we really have in front of us to make sure that we break down the steps enough that they are really attainable for people. They're attainable for people with families. They're attainable for young people. And then any model that has built in a earn while you learn model as you go through that process gives people an economic floor to be able to essentially survive and provide for themselves as they get that education. And I think a lot of programs we have to start thinking of programs like that. We also have to think about that in the K through 12 education system also. How do we really prepare people to fill the jobs of the future? And I think that has a big part of that will be bringing regional employers together with education partners and getting more specific about how we can get people there faster and getting curriculum built in a way that is laser focused on the skills for those particular companies in that area or in that particular profession. And that's what I see that LPN program that you have doing.
Are there certificates out there that you think there needs to be more programs like this because we need to provide more people opportunities? We just don't have enough X programs.
Yeah, I think I would say we need a lot more certificate programs in healthcare. There's, healthcare is a mini city, and there is such a incumbent worker strategy that can be built in healthcare. I think a lot more certificate programs in manufacturing also that lead into robotics, more 4-year robotics programs. And so I think if you start at the top of a lot of careers that are, 4-year degrees that are innovative, and you build backwards
And roll back.
and really build, clear pathways into those programs, more people will see that as an attainable way to go about it. And so what you will see, I think, is more an individual who works in a factory now saying, wow, there's an actual pathway to a robotics job.
So here's another interesting part about this discussion. Oftentimes when we think about workforce development, we're thinking about young people. But here's the reality, is that this is a discussion that includes everybody. And when I say everybody, I'm not just talking about people who are in mid-career. I'm talking about people who are retired. Retired people are coming back to the workforce as well. So how do you see this multi-generational movement affecting the workforce?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Anytime, one, for 2 reasons. I think that there is purpose in work. And if someone who is older or retired feels that they can, find purpose in that, they should do that. I think there's also a great teaching mechanism and legacy mechanism in that also. The divide between younger workers and older workers working in the same space, multi-generational workplaces, I think are the most healthiest workplaces where people can learn from one another. I think it's a great value for older people to learn from younger people. I think it is a great value for, younger people to learn from older workers also, and have those all together in one company or one place or one office is a great thing to have.
Yeah. Rob, what do you hope to accomplish with the work that you do every day?
Yeah. I think that if there's one thing that I want to accomplish is for individuals to understand, no matter where you come from, no matter what's in front of you, what barriers you may have, that there is an opportunity to move forward in life, to have hope about what you can become, to dream, all of those things, where you are in your place. That's what workforce development means to me. It really is a movement of hope for moving people to something that they can dream about or aspire to be. It's really important for people to know that they can do that.
And that's really at the essence of what we hope that our students will be engaged with as well, because you can only create a more just and merciful world if you have hope. And if you're willing to dream of a better tomorrow, and I think the work that you are doing is really inspiring that hope and really helping to aid people in their ability to think about who they are and what they have the capacity to do, and how important that is just in a general life. And I agree with you that work can provide incredible purpose, and it does for me, and I'm grateful for that. And my hope is that, I say to our students all the time, my hope is that you're not just successful, but that you play a significant role in our community.
Right.
And playing that significant role is what indeed changes the world, is what indeed brings more justice, and what indeed brings us around to a much better world for all. Thank you for the work that you do every day, for the investment that you are making in Pittsburgh. And hey, I'm sure we're much warmer here than Milwaukee.
You are. Not this week, but you are.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.